Hey everybody, it's Zach, and I just wanted to help you guys understand that one of the things I've learned throughout my personal but also my professional and clinical experiences in the counseling field in order to better help foster and maybe help kids process healthy emotions is by being willing to put in the work and the effort to be attuned to them. That's what I want to talk to you guys about today. How can we be attuned to our kids and just to those that kind of fall in that next generation category? When we think about it, kids differ. They differ in a lot of unique ways, right? In their personalities, in their temperaments, and so on and so forth. But every kid at the end of the day desires to be seen, heard, loved, and understood. Growing up as a kid, I learned all about this lesson, right? Watching dads and kids interact at the ballpark and at the field, and I would often see what would happen when a dad pushes their kids too far. We all get that. I remember one time specifically as I was out there on the field, there was a kid on the other team who was up to bat, and our pitcher just mowed him down, right? And he didn't swing the first strike, he didn't swing the second strike, he didn't even swing the third strike. And I'll never forget, this dad was on the sideline there. He wasn't in the dugout, but he was sitting in the stands, and he started yelling at his son, "Swing the freaking bat!" Just screaming at him. And this kid, you could just see how deflated he felt and how embarrassed he was. And I'll never forget watching him with his head down, just drop his bat and drop his helmet and go sit in the corner of the dugout all by himself. Yeah, maybe he had experienced failure. Yeah, maybe he didn't swing the bat. That's not what that kid needed in that time of need. And really, at the end of the day, I believe it probably ruptured the relationship. Don't get me wrong though. I understand that it's okay to push and to challenge our kids. I'm actually a big fan of that. I understand what that's like. It actually helped me immensely as a kid growing up. I was pushed. I was challenged to be the very best that I could be, athletically, academically, relationally, and so on and so forth. It's okay to push them, but we also have to be aware and cognizant of when to push them in a different way. When to be able to walk alongside of them, to be the first one there to pick them up when failures happen, when hard times come. We have to be able to be willing to be there to encourage them and to let them know what every kid that I've ever met longs for and desires to hear from their parents or their coaches, which are simple sayings. I love you. Man, I'm proud of you, son. I'm proud of you, daughter. In times of need, we all desire those things. Why? Because we have to remember, when we crank on a bolt, man, that bolt can easily break. It reminds me of a psychological concept that I learned in the midst of my master's program from one of my professors, Dr. Gary Sipsey, and he talked a lot about this challenge support continuum. He noted that wisdom says when to push, but also when to pull back. In other words, when to challenge or when to support our sons and our daughters in their maybe most weakest moments. I think but a lot of parents do, unfortunately, though, is they don't know how to process or how to handle their own emotions, so naturally they don't know how to handle the emotions of their own kids as well. I think, simply go off on them and tell them that they just need to change it or to fix it, right? That's not a very productive way to get through to our kids. And I think what we often do is we lack meaningful conversation with them in these moments of need when they really just need us to be able to give them a voice to provide empathy. Remember, the first form of empathy is inquiry, giving them a voice in a safe space to reflect on maybe what's going on, what they're processing emotionally, which then also in turn, my friends, will allow you the opportunity, maybe as a dad or as a mom watching this, to be able to emotionally coach them in and through everything going on inside of them. But you just don't get it, Zach, right? I grew up having been hammered on and beaten my entire life. I was pushed and I was challenged 24/7, and I turned out all right, right? So why are you saying I gotta switch it up? Why do I have to be the one to change? What I'm telling you guys is, man, at the end of the day, I just want you to be more attuned to your children. Sometimes pushing them in a whole different direction can be very detrimental to them, not only emotionally, but also relationally, even spiritually in some ways. I've seen a lot of talent, right? Working in the sports psychology field, I've seen a lot of talent get wasted or go awry, I would say, because a coach wouldn't take the time to attune to his players. I often say that there's two types of coaches, right? There are recruiter coaches and there are player coaches, recruiter coaches. Man, they're highly driven. They can recognize and see talent from a distance and they bring it in, man. They can get you there. But once you're there, they don't really know how to develop you. They often revert back to the my way or the highway approach, where they kind of make you feel as if they are so result driven that your worth and your value and your identity to the team is completely attached to your performance. So when you're not performing, get out the way, next man up mentality. I think a lot of parents, unfortunately, have that recruiter mindset as well. But then remember, there's also the player coach. And the player coach has the same drive as the recruiter coach. And actually, I think will go above and beyond a recruiter coach in trying to get every single ounce of energy and effort out of their players because they want them to know that they're cared for, that they're loved, that they're seen, that they're understood, that they're heard, and they want to give them a voice. They want them to know, my friend, my player, my son, my daughter, your worth, your value, and your identity has nothing to do with your performance. Yes, I want to push you and challenge you to be the very best you can be for your own good as well. But I also want you to know, regardless that I'm proud of you, regardless that I love you, regardless that I'm with you, and that you never have to go through this life alone. I think a great verse that kind of reflects everything that we're talking about is 1 Thessalonians 5:14, where Paul reminds us that there are different types of people in different types of situations. He writes, "And we urge you, brothers and sisters, warn those who are idle and disruptive, encourage the disheartened, help the weak, and be patient with everyone." Now, knowing that people are different, right, helps us understand that you and your son or daughter may be very different as well. You guys may express or process your emotions differently. You may have different personalities, but guess what? That's okay. But I have 3 principles that I want to leave you with today, and I want you to take as a gift, almost as gold that you can begin implementing in your lives, that I've implemented and just been able to share with so many people across the globe. Principle number 1, make sure that your kids and your family know that you love them. Someone I was listening to the other day on a podcast said, when you go home at night, dad or husband, what does your wife or your children say is the most important thing to you? What do they say you love the most? If it's not them, man, there's a problem. No matter the circumstance, no matter the situation, my prayer is that your kids would always know how much you love them. That's principle number 1. Principle number 2 is strengthen their heart. In other words, encourage them. 1 Thessalonians 5:11, therefore encourage one another and build each other up. What does encouragement mean? It literally means to give courage to. Every single opportunity you get, make sure that you're providing and instilling courage within your children. And principle number 3, spend time with them. In this mental health space, we talk a lot about special time, which is an opportunity to spend 10, 15, 20, 30 minutes a day, just devoting your time to spending special time with your children and giving them the voice and the choice to do what they want, whether that's playing a video game with them, whether that's having a tea party with their little girl, whether that's getting outside and throwing the pigskin or the baseball around, doing whatever they want to do, devoting that time to them, giving them, like I said, the voice and the choice. It not only will teach you what motivates their heart, but also their likes and their dislikes. And it will also open the door for meaningful conversation that, by the way, will help them press through when the inevitably painful and hard times come in life. My friends, make sure that they know how much you love them, strengthen their heart through encouragement, and spend some special time with them today.